Hello there, Internet. We are back with Volume 2 of the unboxing, which took a lot longer than I thought. I thought it'd be a one video, 10-minute romp through some old gear, but these boxes are full. So let me know if you enjoy this sort of shenanigans, because there's loads more stuff as well, but for me to go through. But if you're not enjoying it, then I'm happy to do it on my own, so don't worry about it either way. So we're going to carry on with the box of stuff that we had before, and like I said, it's a lot of loose cards and just junk, so I'm going to just grab a couple of handfuls of stuff and then we'll go through it and see what sort of magic is in there and what people were thinking of. Okay, so I think that's like 4 handfuls of stuff. A lot of it is probably going to go straight in the bin, but we'll see. We'll find out, see what we've got here. So, we've got a little black, like a switch card box thing. These have been around for ages, I've never actually seen a really good trick using one. They're such a weird thing to kind of justify having, but yeah, if you have any good ideas for tricks with those, let me know. We've got a box of matches, which seems to be kind of just what that looks like. You can never tell. Sometimes you get some really clever gaffed stuff. There was a magician called Pat Conway years ago, I think, who used to make these really intricate, beautiful tricks with matchboxes, but that one just looks like a normal one to me. There's a book that looks very entertaining. My favourite verse, compiled by Sam DeLisle, who was a magician. I don't know that this is magic related. It's copyright 1976 from what looks like the Supreme Address. Is that? I can't remember now. Bidford rings a bell. I think it might have been. So it might be Supreme Magic that published that. And it is. Oh, it is actually like a book of like limericks or poems or whatever. We're going to read one for comedy value, number 8. When her daughter got married in Bester, her mother remarked as she kissed her, "That fellow you've won is sure to be fun, since T he's kissed me and your sister." There you go. What can't speak can't lie. There we are. Yeah, my favourite verse. Weird. What have we got here? We got another one of these wallets again with the. This has got gold corners on all 4 sides, so this was obviously a posher one, and most of these are some sort of switch thing. So that looks, that looks like it opens there for the 2 of spades, and your other card is in there. Right, I get you. So you could show the thing, you could put it in there. And then it's changed and you can push it out, or any sort of switch thing, I suppose. So kind of switch wallet. Weird that the cards are laminated. That's, obviously not a thing now. We just use cards as they are. I don't really see what's the problem with that, but those are laminated just in case. There's a little leather switch wallet there. I'll put my pile of stuff here. There's been a couple of these I've noticed, these little snapshot purse things. If there's 5, I've got a feeling they might have been for Peter Kane's variant, because he used to do a version with 5 of these little purses, and I've seen 2 or 3, so that could be pretty cool. We've got a mysterious envelope here. Oh man, yes. You might recognise this actually. This was recently, well, fairly recently, re-released by Magic Makers, I think. The very entertainingly named Rob Stiff came back out with it. And it's a prediction trick. It's really cool, actually. You force these 2 cards, the Jack of Spades and 3 of Hearts, from your regular deck, so they sit in there. And then you, the 2 cards are laying out, and then you give them these 2 little plaques or chips or whatever, and they place 1 on each card. Say the square 1 on the 3 of Hearts and the circle on the Jack of Spades. And you say, not only did I predict the cards, but also the shapes, because inside the envelope is 2 playing cards, and with the shapes cut out. And it's a really sort of clever little trick, but what's actually going on there is you've got 2 double faces. So it doesn't matter which you know, you just force the 2 cards with whatever you want to do. You could do the prophecy move or the double deal force or whatever. But then they get a free choice of how they lay that out with the chips, and you can just bring them out the right side up. One version that I used to do was I used to do that trick with an ESP deck instead of the chips. And I'd do the double deal force and have like 2 spectators, a couple ideally. So one, like the guy would use the playing cards, the girl would use the ESP deck, and he'd end up with the Jack of Hearts and the 3 of Spades or whatever it was going to be. And she ended up with a circle and a square. And then they chose how to combine them between them as well, and then the prediction predicted both. So if you don't have the chips, that's a way you can make the thing up anyway. It's a really cool trick though. You know, like all these things, there's loads of old cool tricks, and you kind of just forget about it, and you know, it just falls out of your repertoire. So this is an old Marvin's Magic draw box with half a $100 bill in there. Not sure what that would have been for, but that's what that is. There is a card box with the chain in it. Whoever this was, and I'm presuming it's all from the same. Well, it's not all going to be from the same person, but I can't believe that all the chains aren't from the same person. That's like, if you watch the first video as well, that's the 3rd or 4th time we found a chain in something. Why it's in a card box, I got no idea at all. This looks pretty weird. We've got a little funky leather case there, and inside, ooh man, some old cool looking keys. So these might be for a 7 keys to board pay sort of. Well I thought they were going to be for a 7 keys to board pate thing, but with the magnet, I reckon this would be like Eric Mason's crikey thing, which was a trick where you could balance them like that, and they, no, maybe, I don't know. There was a trick where you could take 2 keys that had been examined, and you would sort of hang them off each other, and they would yes, so kind of like that. You'd have the little magnet which was doing the job for you there. And you could just steal that off as you handed the keys out to be examined. Let's move that back so you can see everything. So I reckon that's what that must be. A sort of Eric Mason crikey trick, it was called. And in a very nice little, weird little pouch. I mean, what is that made for? It exactly holds 4 old keys and the magnet. And literally nothing else on earth. I don't know. Yeah, don't know about that. But that's looks like a crikey set by Eric Mason. We've got a couple of loose cards, which I'm just going to chuck in the bin. There's a gun on a card because, you know, you might need that. That might be good. We've got dodgy dice. Let's have a shifty at this. Dodgy dice where the total doesn't add up to 7. Yeah. That's quite cool. It doesn't have any routine in there, but it would be good for showing a magician something, you know, something with a free choice of number, and you say add up the top and the bottom one, because that's an old. If you didn't know, the opposite sides of a dice normally add up to 7, and there's a lot of forces using that. But there's one like a sucker trick that you could do with that, I guess. We got another clicky purse, so I'm sure that's looking like it was for Peter Kane's variant. We got a jumbo Chinese coin that was $8.95. Seems expensive, but it is quite heavy. You could probably kill a man with that if you'd want to. I mean, there'd be easier ways, but that would do the job. And this, yeah, this is an old classic. You got a trick with a deck of cards. There we go. You can remember that card or what have you. And here's the cool part. We're going to slide the box into this rather misshapen black plastic case and then try and change the pack into a cake. Look, scone. Get it? Scone. Like the cake. Okay, so there's a really old trick. Loads of versions of that now, but that's really cool. Again, not a trick you see done very often. This is one of the old zigzag rope things. These, quite a deceptive trick really, and really good if you had kids that you wanted to get into magic, or they were interested, but they didn't, you know, didn't want to learn sleight of hand or anything complicated. This was a good sort of middle ground. The idea of this was you thread the string through, though that is a remarkably tight fit, but the moment it comes out the other end we can grab that. There we go. And then it was like the zigzag lady. You chop the thing in half, so they could see the string cut there, and then you clicked it back together, and then the rope comes out and is all examinable. One of those sort of James Bond things that's just so neat and clever. Like, who thought of that, man? And what were they doing with their life at the time? So that's, yes, a little cut and restored rope. But like I say, that sort of thing's great for beginners or to get your kids interested. Wow, a really old pack, sealed pack of Piatnik by Magic Christian. Very sophisticated looking gentleman there. Number cards, and there's some instructions as well. I don't know if they were specifically a magic thing or if they were not, basically. So let's have a look. There's some instructions in here. Dear Piatnik magicians, these appear in our magic range. Oh, right, so there might be double-faced cards in there or something. Well, that's like a catalogue. And then here we've got, oh, like a routine for a magic square, the magic clock, and ghost cards. Oh, interesting. So, there you go. I wonder how old they are, man. They've obviously been there a while. It's got 250 written on it and then scribbled out in biro. So I don't know what happened to the price there. 250 was not right. So that's pretty weird. Then we've got some little pot here with some invisible thread on it, which we're going to get rid of. It's got crystals written on it. Or crystaz? No, crystal, I reckon. It looks like a Z at the end, but that would make no sense. Oh, there we go. Look, this is mysterious. So, what have we got in here? Oh, wow. Don't know what that would be for, but obviously some part of someone's routine there. That's to be looked after. All right, the crystal pyramid for some sort of mentalism shenanigans, it seems to me. That's what my money would be on. The first handful of stuff is coming to an end. We've got a terrible looking flower. Even, you know, fake flowers can look dead. That's what we learnt there. It's been recycled. Any ideas, people, on that? Some sort of stagey thing, I'm guessing, but I'm going to keep it for now in case the other half turns up in a moment. And a key ring, which is so old, I can't really make any of that out. Looks like maybe it had signs of the zodiac on around the outside. I'm not sure. Pretty weird stuff. Okay, so we're going back to the box of justice, which you can see here. Let's grab another couple of handfuls of stuff and see what we get. There is some invisible thread somewhere. There we go. Which is just getting absolutely everywhere. So I tell you what, I'm going to cheat. And that will hopefully not tie up everything that we come across again. There's a box thing there. There's a couple of bits there. Oh man, there's so much stuff, and a lot of it is loose in here. I don't know quite what we can do about that, if we're ever going to be able to reunite some of these things. There we go. Okay. Alright, so that looks like a pretty good stash. So let's move through this as quickly as we can. So this is going to be some sort of just chance 7 keys, wonder lock, presto lock kind of thing. These are great, man. You know, the routine would be that you'd put a £20 note in there, you'd padlock it shut, and then they choose the keys, you know, and none of the keys open the lock until you're ready, and then, you know, the one that they leave you opens it, so you keep the money or whatever your routine was going to be. And these were brilliant, really, really clever, especially on the holder here. So what happens with these is all of the keys open the lock and all of them don't, and it just depends on which way up the lock is. So let's take that off and move back. I don't know, I can't actually see my camera, so I'm presuming I'm in shot now. Let's hope so. So yeah, you have a whole bunch of them, and if they put the key in the lock upside down like that, then all of the keys open the lock. But if it's offered to them that way up, then the key doesn't work. And of course on there it was really straightforward, because you would just hold it out. Let's actually do it there. No, I think it works. I guess it's a ball bearing in there or something that moves around, so that's what determines whether the key opens the lock or not. So which way round are we here? So that's going to open it. So what you'd do is you'd have the lock that way round, holding on to the money, and then of course every key they try in there doesn't work, and you can give them a free choice. They can change their mind. They work their way through all the keys, none of them work, and then all you've got to do is pass it from one hand to another, turning it round, and then of course it's all hands off for you. You're not actually touching the lock, you're just holding the little plastic doodad, and of course the last person puts the last key in and it unlocks it like that. So that you can use as a routine. I tell you what, I used it as a routine as well. I really liked the idea of doing it this way. I had used the method to show that 4 of the keys didn't work and 1 did, and then hook this on a piece of, like, you could use a chain actually, we've come across enough in these videos, but I used it as a pendulum, and then I'd have the spectator move it over, and then the one that it moved over was the one that opened the lock. And I kind of thought that was nice, because it kind of removes the element where they don't win the money, and you know, it feels like a very organic thing, because it's kind of like it's using exactly the props that it should. You know, you had a presentation, or you could use a presentation about inanimate things having a relationship, and you know, the lock always finding the key that fits. You could do all kinds of things with that. So yeah, that was probably Wonder Lock, it was called, I think, back in the day. And that is good. That's a killer trick. You can do that close-up stage, mentalism, comedy, and with all the bits in there, that is a good find. So I'm happy with that. So there's another, we covered that in the last video. That's a milk magazine gimmick. So we got one of those. There's some cardboard boxes, like flat pack boxes. I don't know, not exactly sure what they're for, but see, kind of, yeah, don't know, some sort of just chance routine maybe they had planned with those. There's a couple of those. The official Irish joke book in there. Where's that from? Let's have a look what year that was. 1977. Wow. So yeah, a lot of Irishman jokes in there. There you go. Right, what's this? We've got a mysterious black cloth. Now these are never as innocent as you think they're going to be, and this one is no different. So this has got a tiny little piece of paper rolled up and into the hem there, and the idea of that would be for the bill tubes or something. You would roll up a spectator's note, you'd apparently push it underneath, and they'd hold on to it through the cloth, but really now they're holding the one that's in the corner, and you've snuck off their rolled one in your palm. Then you'd bring out your bill tube that we had before, and then of course you can vanish it. You can just pull this, it drops out their grasp, show the handkerchief both sides. Yeah, so that, I think we'll go with one of the bill tubes, probably the big brassy one, because that seems newer, and so I imagine that came with the bill tube before. What have we got here? We got a pile of CDs from 2005. They're all the same. John Gallo's Osaka Bills Super Video CD. Not even a DVD, but a Super Video CD. No idea what that is. I'll give that a watch, see what that's all about. Inside here, would it be a chain in a small bag by any chance? Oh, well, it is a chain in a small bag, but I guess that is, yeah, it's like a little pendulum for mentalists and bizarrists. It's quite a cool one, actually, with the chain and the big amethyst at the end. That's cool. I like sort of, I never got into bizarre magic because I don't have the personality for it, really, although I enjoy watching it and reading it. But I think stuff like that's easier. It's easier to get away with New Age rather than medieval, I think, was how Caleb Strange used to phrase it. And his book was, I don't know what happened to Caleb Strange, actually. I used to chat to him a lot, and he was a wonderful guy with some brilliant ideas. And he had a book that Alakazam published and Luke Jamay put together, I think, called Garden of the Strange. And if you get a chance to read it, it's wonderful. It's so good if you like that sort of bizarre thing. Really, really inspiring stuff. So if anyone knows what happened to him, drop us a line, because I'd love to say hi, see how he's doing. So what else have we got here? We got a couple of just loose, odd cards. If they're not gonna, if they don't look gaffed, I'm just gonna bin them, I think, because more loose cards I certainly don't need. Ah, there you go. The instructions for one of the tricks, and it is Crikey by Eric Mason, of course. There we go. And that's the instructions with Eric's fabulous drawing, which he was well known for. Yeah, there we go. So that can go with the little wallet that we had on the keys earlier. There's another pouch, definitely for variant, or if not, that's what they're going to be used for. I've got a black plastic. I don't know if that's supposed to be there, or is that like gunge? I'm not sure. That's a red plastic thing. Does that go with the... here we are. Does that go with that, do we think? Oh, we think it does. What is this trick, people? Does anyone know? Does anyone recognise that? It seems... I don't think it's a mass-produced thing, because it's not good enough quality, really, to have been mass-produced. But I don't know. It obviously had some sort of shenanigans afoot, so I've got no idea what that's all about. We've got a set of tarot cards there. That's going to be for Tale of the Tarot, which is an old self-working trick using a Paul Curry simple switch. But they've not great cards, those ones, unfortunately. I got a couple of rings from a set of Linkin rings, only 2. That's like the short attention span version. It's 2 rings, they link, they'll link. Thanks for watching. That's pretty cool. I got some ESP cards there. I'm going to get rid of those. Oh man, we got another load of Crikey keys. So again, whoever had these was really into this trick. So there's a couple more sets there. That's pretty cool. We can definitely do variant now. There's another one of those. Some other cards down here. Something I dropped earlier. Some Wizard by World Magic Shop. Ooh. Don't know quite what that is. It's taped up. Is it a? Is it like a wax stuff maybe? Oh no, I think it's a PK ring. Wow, huge one. Actually, one of the few that you would not mind wearing too much. Some of the more recent ones had really square edges and they just looked like, you know, like metal. But wow, that seems surprisingly recent for some of the other stuff that we found in here. There's a money printer. Oh, it's got a banknote in it, I think. Oh man, it has. Very round. What is that? 5 euros. There we go. I was very entertained. A magician friend of mine who sells on Amazon. He sells invisible decks and, you know, beginner stuff on there. And we were having a chat about some of the most ridiculous customer returns or complaints we'd had. And while I was at Kaymar one time, we had a guy genuinely return an invisible deck because he could see the cards. That was what he said in the letter. He said, well, they're not invisible because I opened them and could see them. He got me there. But I told my friend about that, and he said, well, that's nothing. He said, we sell these money printers on Amazon for $5 or whatever. And he said, and we get about 4 returned a year when people like realise that it doesn't actually print money. They buy it for $5.99. They find it doesn't actually genuinely print £20 notes, so they return it for a refund. Amazing. Don't be that guy. If you're a Magic customer, just, you know, do what you want. Don't do that. So, yeah. So, there's a money printer. We're €5 up. So, that's a good start. We can't go anywhere to spend it, but we've got it. What else have we got down here? We've got our invisible thread, which has got everywhere. So, that's going in the bin. Some sort of very old packaging bin. Jumbo 4 clubs, that was the one you were thinking of, in the bin. Large Chinese or something coin. Not as big as the one we had before that would kill a man, but, you know, get in there. And we've got this, which is... Oh, wow, and that is the... that's a very old Psycho Dice, or Diabolical, by Steve Cook. I don't know if that was marketed, or I reckon that's been made up. So that could well have been Morley's or Harry Barron's even, from back in the day. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the idea, you know, I still do Psycho Dice and other versions of the same trick from Steve Cook, but I love the idea of actually using this one and the presentation being really honest. And I can say I was going through a box of stuff, and you know, Morley, who's a magician who taught me pretty much everything I know, used to do this trick, and you know, I found this and let me show it. You know, let me share it with you. I kind of like that as just a completely free presentation for something. I think that's pretty good. So you got an old version of Psycho Dice there, and then we're back to reaching into the box for some other stuff. So here we go. There's a little bag of something there. A couple of other bags of things. Oh, there's a package trick. And let's get another couple of handfuls of things here as well. And then we're slowly reaching the bottom of it. Okay, let's leave it there. So we've got a bright pink purse, if you were looking for that. I'm not sure. St. Michael's Hospice on there. What would you store in there? No idea. Another laminated card. That might go with the packet trick from before. We've got some instructions for Mia Yedid's Walk on Water book test 5, the best book test in existence. Imagine that, man, the money he must have spent on research alone, checking every single one. Wicked. Okay, so there's some instructions there. I haven't found a book. I'm assuming it's not using the rhyming book or the Irish joke book before. Colour changing hexagon. I never got how all these things worked or why that was a thing. But it's one of those things where you open it up and it changes colour, you know, 130 times every time you open a different bit of it. I don't know. I'm baffled not only at how they work, but why. Like, someone sat there and worked that out, man. That's hardcore. So we got John Archer's Do-Decker Deal, which is $12.99, or was back when this was done. Alakazam Magic. There's an old coin in it, which I don't think was part of the original trick. There's some written instructions in there. And then we've also got the deck. Now, Do-Decker Deal. Let me show you this. I remember this. This was a trick. I think Kaymar actually maybe had a deal to produce it years ago, because I remember us making up a couple. I think I made up a couple. I can't remember now. Years ago. So you had your deck of cards, and they were all different. And you said, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you about half the cards. Yeah, so I'll give you this half, and I'll keep this half. So the spectator took that half, they examined it, they shuffled it up as much as they wanted, and then they cut it into 3. There's that invisible thread again. They cut it into 3 piles like that. And then you gave them a free choice of any of these cards that they could see, and they'd go 6 of clubs, and you say, yeah, sure, where do you want it? You know, which packet do you want it on? That one. So you're not only choosing which card you get, but you're also choosing which pile it goes on as well. And say the 7 of hearts on that one. And then, of course, you lift those off. And on the top packet of each is a direct match. So that's from the very clever John Archer, and it's a great trick, to be honest. Really, really clever method, and really just commercial, just easy, practical magic, which is the best kind. So I assume whoever this was well into that, because there's a couple of units there. There's 2 of those. The cards are a bit old, but wouldn't stop you doing it. Still in good nick. Alakazam, your boxes are very squishy. I've noticed this recently, and particularly, it doesn't seem like a new problem. This is an old box, and this is squishy too. You need better boxes, people. Okay, so there's 2 of those. Is it 1 blue and 1 red? No, 2 blue. 2 blue Dodecadeals. There we go. A bag of Kirsten's Crystal, but that's already vanished. That's empty, so that is no good. That's a shame. Kirsten's Crystal was a great trick. We've got some more plastic stuff there. We've got Psyche 2, the Modern Haunted Key from Chaz Pro. Don't know how old that is or what it does. The Haunted Key I thought was the thing that turns, but that looks like a car key. So not really sure what that's all about. We got a set of tricky dice. You can't lose, for entertainment purposes only. I'm always entertained by that. It says like for entertainment purposes only, and then when you look at it, it's like some of the dice have only got 5s on. And you're like, well, you wouldn't get away with that in a game, would you? Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, there you go. So you got one that's all 5s, and then one that's all just 6s and 2s. So you'd only get a 7 or an 11 when you rolled those, and then 2 regular dice by the looks of it. From 1997. Bloody hell, 20, God, yeah. Long time ago. Feeling old. What else we got in here? We've got some rope and some beads. So that will be like the old grandma's necklace trick, which is a really great trick actually. There's a magician who used to come in the shop called Nev, and he used to do what we would call slum magic now. He used to get these little tricks, kids tricks, and just present them so well that it made you want one. And he used to do the grandma's necklace with a big red ball that had a hole through the middle, and he had you hold it in your hand. There was no box, or it wasn't just held over the thing. You held it in your hand, then you pulled the thing, and you kind of felt the ropes go through, and you was left holding the ball. It was such a good trick. And you could do that with the beads as well. So there you go. We got that there. There is another bag. It doesn't feel like chain this time. So let's have a look. What have we got in here? Wow. We got some string. Let's take a look at this. Let's come down here. We've got... Oh, there is a, there is a chain in there. So there's 2 pendulums. You've got one little dark crystally thing in there, and then a light. That's a lovely one, nice light crystal in there. So I wonder if this is a pendulum as well, just with a string and a brass weight. Is that? Yeah, I think it is. So that's a set of pendulums there. So yeah, not seen one with string and a brass weight before. That's quite unusual. I don't know if that was part of something else, but there you go. So there's a set of pendulums. Whoever that was on into their new age sort of magic. We've got another couple of black empty bags. Some more of those boxes. We've got a deck of tarot cards, which I presume will be normal. They normally are. Wow, magic on cassette. We've got the classic reading by Lee Earle from 1989, an introduction to the gentle art of cold reading. That is pretty cool. There's another one in here. So that's, I presume, side 1. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're the same. Maybe they're different. This one has got a running time on it, 35 minutes. But I don't know. So, magic on cassette. I don't know if anyone still has a cassette player. If you have a cassette player and you're interested in cold reading and you like Lee Earle, then I can hook you up. I'm guessing that is a pretty niche market right there. No one has cassette players anymore. Okay, so there's a big pile of cards here. We've got some with letters on the back. I normally just chuck all this stuff because if it's not obviously gaffed, then it's going to be replaceable. And often with these old tricks, the cards need replacing. They go yellow, which is never ideal. So I'm gonna rehome those. This looks like a version of the rainbow chips, but it looks like the biggest version in the world. So that'll be a magnet to reset it. And then this is, yeah. So those are your colours. And then, man, that's massive. Ooh, a little bit sticky. So that's the kind of thing where you would have your black chips and then you rub one over and they change. No, nothing's changed. Oh, there we go. And then they start changing colours as you rub them back and forth. So yeah, there you go. There used to be one with animals on, with monkeys, and they turned into 4 different animals. And at the time, there was a TV show, Pete Furman and stuff, called Monkey Magic. So we used to go, oh, have you heard of Monkey Magic? Yeah, that's just, you know, it's a trick. Don't know why that worked, but it was a presentation, I guess, in the loosest possible sense. We got a notepad here, which I think is just a normal notepad. Every mentalist needs lots of those to go with their eyebrows to raise and beards to stroke. We've got a advertising card from an old carnival deck there. We've got a bunch of other cards, some instructions for the ESP telepathy cards, which is one of my favourite tricks of all time, and some jumbo cards cut in half. These would have been for a version of the Nick Trost trick, I imagine, where you have the cards shuffled up and then a spectator takes a random number and the other spectator has another random number and they count how many pieces they've got. They shuffle them all back together and they remember the halves that they're numbers and they both end up thinking of the same card. Old self-working trick, really good. But unusual to see jumbo and then cut in half. You know, either you want jumbo cards or you don't. Make a decision. So what else have we got in here? We are coming to the end of it now. It's just getting like to the loose dregs there. There's some sort of key trick in here. And I wonder if this is a video CD. We had something before with a video CD, I think, didn't we? Rather than not even a DVD. Oh, that's actually sealed, or was sealed. We're about to find out what it is. Oh, there we go. Oh, and it was sellotaped. That explains it. Barry Richardson UK Magic Tour. There you go. Barry Richardson's awesome. Lecture notes. 7 modest miracles you can do. The impossible knot, the spooky key, the impromptu card at any number, and the astonishing rice jar suspension, which is pretty cool if you've never seen that. So yeah, I don't know what format that is. I'm presuming it's DVD, but I'm not entirely sure. And there is a very old looking key. I'm not going to take it out that because what is that in there? I don't know. Looks like some sort of something died in there, man. Something was vaporized. But the key is still there, and that looks like a haunted key, which we talked about briefly earlier, which is a fantastic trick. Again, don't really see people doing it, but such a good thing to learn and do. And you can tie that in with sort of your bizarre stuff, or just as a mental thing. You know, great trick. So there you go. I don't know what that stuff is in there. It's kind of freaked me out. Right, so what have we got left in this box? We've got a very heavy light bulb that unscrews. No idea what that, I mean, I wonder if that was like a final load for a chop cup, because it's going to sit upright because it's got a flat top, and then it's a lot more robust than a normal light bulb would be, so perhaps that's what that was for. Not sure about that. Another one of those wallets. And another one. I think we've now found too many to do variant, unless the guy was going to do like variant 3 times over. What was that? That was one of the business card printers, and they've been around for years. There's a little gizmo where you slipped your business card into the middle and it looked blank, and then when you flicked it, it printed. They were pretty good, novel way of handing out your business card back in the day. Oh, some Yeagle Masika loops. They must be some newer stuff that's fallen in from the box above, I imagine. But those are always handy. We've got some other bits in here. Let's grab another couple of bits. There's a grey bag there. There's another light bulb. So I don't know quite what that's about. But one of those was not enough, obviously. There's some cards. Oh, there we go. There is another huge length of chain. I don't know why. There's a lot of thumb tips in here as well. Let me wake up my laptop again. I'm going to use that as my time that, you know, I'm approaching everyone's attention span limit. So let's grab a few other bits. And then we'll call this box done, because what's left in there is just, let's lift this up so you can see, just stuff. It gets to the real nitty gritty bit there. You've got your, oh, there's a couple of little bags of things still. Okay, yeah, let's salvage some of that. That's a packet trick of some sort, and some instructions in there. Got a padlock, a nun. That's Michael Mode's nun. I don't know if that's still a marketed thing, but that was great. If you liked your corny gags, your cheesy gags, that was one of the best. Alright, so let's go through this last little pile of stuff here. What we got? We got some of the ugliest dice known to man ever. Clear with different colour spots. Ghastly, difficult to use, and they look like they've gone yellow with age. Yeah. Those are not sexy dice, I think we can agree. Another load of those wallets for variant or what have you. That's pretty cool. I'll tell you, one thing that's really good for these, and I've been reminded because I just saw a load of thumb tips in here, is these make no one uses thumb tips anymore, I don't think, but these made a really great place to reproduce a note. So you used to be able to get these $1 million bills, which were really, really cool, or £1 million notes. You can get those as well if you Google. And you could bill switch those. And the advantage of that, firstly, the bill switch is a brilliant trick, and one that everyone should be doing, because changing money into bigger money is, you know, one of the few tricks that people would actually do if they could do magic. But it meant that you could borrow any note and the change would work. If you loaded a thumb tip with a £20 note, and someone lent you a £20 note, you couldn't really do much with it. But you could fold it up, turn it into $1 million. Then the other problem with the bill switch was that you'd then have to repeat the exact same technique to give them the note back, and that was not a good idea, I don't think, because you're just giving them another chance to work it out. So one thing you could do was put the £1 million note down and then have one of these wallets, and then you could pop that open, show your hand empty and reach in, and then just leave the thumb tip behind and pull out the folded note. That snaps shut with the thumb tip in it, so that goes back in your pocket. And then it's like a transformation and a bill to impossible location. And it neatly skirts around all the awkward issues of both. You can, you know, you're not repeating the trick. And it's, yeah, it just worked great. Just a really good routine. So that's something else that you could do with these purses if you've got one of those kicking about. And a thumb tip, obviously. This is a Zig Zag Pencil. With the black plastic pencil from video number 1 in there. So I've got a spare one of those. Very much like the rope we did earlier. You would then cut that aside and... Oh, these are actually loose bits. So you could tip the bits out. And then restore it. Oosh, like that. So clever, man. Like, that one's a bit old. That's not having it there. There we go. But, yeah, clever. So your pen is running, or your pencil is running along there. I wonder if it'd work with the IKEA pencils. you can get those for free. There you go. Not really sure what I'm going to do with those. They might end up in the charity shop, I think. There we go. It's got some more cards with guns on. So I'm not sure what the trick was there. Obviously some sort of Russian roulette thing. So we've got 5. Maybe another one will turn up where the gun is fired or something. Ah, there you go. Speak of the devil. There you go. So that one shoots. So maybe, yeah, maybe you had 6 cards. You did like a Russian roulette or a just chance thing, maybe. Who knows? Interesting. They're like plastic. Okay, so my light bulbs we've dealt with. I don't know what they're all about. We've got a little leather JOL coin pouch here with a half. Oh, okay. So we've got an expanded shell. We've got a not expanded shell, a coin with a bit there. So I assume this needs some sort of repair, but that would probably have fitted in there with some sort of elastic. And then maybe one of those dental bands that folding coins have. And then you could go from having 3 coins, that one would fling back to have 2. That one pops in there to have 1 left, and then you vanish that one and you vanish 3 coins. I'm guessing that's what that was for. There's a pretty nice little holder as well for it. That's pretty cool. JOL one. Little bag, and this one doesn't feel like chain at all. I don't think there's any chain in here. Oh, yes, the old brass release. God, I haven't seen one of these for years. So the trick of this was that you had everything could be examined, which was really cool. You don't see a lot of these brass things around. I don't know, maybe this is a Magic Maker's one. And they chose a colour, and you put all of the colours in, and then you put the lid on top. And they chose, yeah, they'd chosen one of the colours in advance, so maybe they went blue or whatever. And then you pushed that through to hook them all on, and then when you opened it up, the blue one was the one that fell out. Really clever method, because you could hand everything out to be examined. So it's a pretty cool little trick. This needs, again, a bit of brass, so a bit of love, a bit of TLC on there, and you'd be all right. So yeah, that's the a brass block release. There was a couple of slightly different versions, but that one was a bit of a classic. The needle and thread in there. There we go. Okay, this is another padlock, so I wonder if this is another wonder lock like we had before. Yeah, looks like it could be. We got a lot of keys. That one. Yeah, there we go. So that's another wonder lock with a billion keys in there. Or should we say 10? I think it's probably 10. But nice, really heavy, solid looking padlocks. That's great. So there you go. Yeah, if you're doing a just chance routine and you need to fill an extra 10 minutes, just get 5 more keys. Make the thing last an extra half an hour. Expanded shell Chinese coin. Looks a bit old, from Tango Magic, who are still around, still doing things with coins. Got a little mysterious green envelope with some paper in it. Not even printed paper. So, yeah. Some of this stuff you'll never know. That was obviously important to someone. And we're never going to know what trick that was important for, which is a shame. Sad. All the dice you could ever need in the world there. That's pretty cool. I imagine some of those are gaffed and some are not. Well, I don't know actually. Who knows? Yeah, some of them are misspotted for just chance, but I don't know. That seems that they need a home of some sort. That doesn't involve me going through them all. We've got a yes, one of the highly sexist tricks you used to get in the like 80s and 90s, where you'd have a photo of your girlfriend, etc., etc., that you place down. She's put "I love you" on there, and then you turn it round, and there you go. Yes, not really sure what to make of magic like that, really. It's very much of the time, I think. You would, I'd like to think you would struggle to make that work now, but who knows, man? I mean, there's all sorts of people, as Facebook will prove to you. There's another little bag with some tiny dice, and a lot of tiny dice. There we go, look at those. Minuscule dice. We've got 3, 6, 7, 8. They look normal to me. Yeah, so some trick that needed 8 dice and took up too much pocket space, you could just use these baby dice instead. No idea. No idea what that's about. And then we've got that which looks like it might be off the pocket watch we looked at before, but it's just a back for it. So I don't know. Yeah, that could just be the back for the pocket watch, I guess. Which would make sense because the hands, the stem came out and turned, but it didn't actually change anything. So perhaps that's the back off of it. And then it was a time force. You know, you just pull out the stem, twisty, 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 push it in, they look at it, and because the hands aren't connected to anything, it's going to force the time that it's already preset on. So that might be what that's from, I reckon. The last thing of interest in there is a Dragon Keto box, I'm guessing, which this looks cool, man. Look at that. Check that out. Not enough Keto boxes have dragons on. So it's a bit wonky. It doesn't look very round on the lid. I don't know how that's been made, but the base looks pretty good. And so you could do, yeah. The thing with the Keto box stuff, again, you don't really see it that much anymore. 'Cause it's not easy to do really, but that would also work as a coin, as a prediction for a coin if you were doing like a mentalism thing and then opening it up to reveal it. You could do like a psycho dice thing and get some cool coins, or you know, whatever. It's pretty good. Dem sample written on here. We've got a sheet of baby cards. Oh, this was, yeah, this used to be known as the Crystal Thought Condenser, which was a dramatic title for such a trick. So you had a little square doodad that you could hold up and they could see through it, and then it's like an instant stooge thing because you could just roll it forward with your finger and thumb and they could see a card inside it. So you'd force that card on someone else and say, look into the crystal, to, you know, a second person, and imagine a card just appears in there, you know, a bit like a fortune teller. You know, I've got this little crystal cube, look into it, and just let the image of a card come to you. Keep that card locked in your mind, and then you could flash it to everyone else as being just empty. And it's kind of weird because it does look empty from everywhere from here. And then, of course, yeah, that was your false. So that was known as the Crystal Thought Condenser from Roper's Magic in Bombay, according to this. Telephone number 492-5683. There you are. Give them a ring. Tell them the Crystal Thought Condenser is cool. Needs to make a comeback. There we are. So, I think that's about it for that box. There is still a lot of other stuff in there. There's some bits like this, which I think are like plastic pecans. You remember the old pecan trick? If you ever wanted a trick that would enable you to tip your own Wii onto a spectator, you needed the pecan. And apparently a lot of people did want that. You know, they sold quite well. So that's, you know, there's a couple of those in black plastic. Which look a bit like old film canisters. There's 3 or 4 of those in there. There's more chain. More chain. Don't get it. Don't get it. There is there's an old vase of Allah, you know, genie bottle thing with the rope in there, which is pretty weird. And we've got just some loose keys and dice. And I think that is... ooh, nearly everything. I found something that looks newer that must have dropped in from the box above, but we can have a look at that as well, see what that is. And then I think we are done. We reached the end, nearly, of box number 1. Let's look at this old paper first. Let's see what this is. It's instructions for... oh, it's instructions for the rude, for the girlfriend trick. There you go. So who made this? First Magic. Oh man, I don't know. My favourite girlfriend. Another great idea from Bangkok, Thailand. That sounds about right. Okay, there you go. So we found the instructions for that. That's I won't say good, but it's complete now. So yay. And what have we got here? We've got, this is a newer thing from gimmickartus.com. Not sure what this is, so you're going to learn at the same time as me. The instructions seem to be French, or not English, at least. Yep, I can't make head nor tail of that. I'm not educated enough. So there is a QR code. And we've got a very... Oh, okay. Right, I get you. So this is a bit like that zapped trick that was out years and years ago. So I'm guessing it's kind of like a 4 aces thing. And then it flaps into a royal flush in diamonds. What a weird trick. I never get, you know, it's a bit like Zap. Zap was really cool. It's a similar thing. You had a bunch of indifferent cards and you flick them like that. They changed into a royal flush. But I never got how you like set that up. You'd have to literally sit there, you know, so you couldn't leave it set up because it would break the gimmick. So you'd have to kind of just, you know, sit to yourself and then come up and go 3 or 4 aces. Shazam, royal flush. Thanks. I'm going home. There you go. So we've had a little look through the first box of what could well be many. But it all depends on you guys. If you've been entertained by seeing me work out what all this old stuff is, then let us know and we'll do more. And if you're not entertained by it, don't worry about it. Don't be cross. Don't leave a comment saying, oh, I was bored, because I don't care. I will just go through the other boxes on my own. I don't mind. So, yeah, so let us know what you think. Hopefully you found some cool tricks and we might have even inspired you for a couple of ideas for routines. Who knows? I hope you're keeping safe and well and look forward to catching up with you next time.